If you've been following the channel for a while now, most of you will know I have a bit of a soft spot for the old B25 Browning. Now the market on the B25s is not wonderful at the moment, and personally I think there are some absolute bargains to be had on some of the higher grade guns. So I've pulled this beautiful D4G 30-inch out of the shop. We're going to give it a try today and see if we get on with it. I've had a good look at this when it came in because the D4 is one of my favourite models produced. It is just so beautifully engraved. I mean, again, the wood on this is just absolutely stunning. And it comes up an absolute dream. So fingers crossed, get on well with it. Pull. B25 Brownings are one of those that if it's got standard stock dimensions, I can shoot it. I was brought up shooting these. One of my first ever 12 gauges was a B2G skeet gun with 27.5-inch barrels. I then moved on to a 20 bore 30-inch, and it's one of those guns that, because I was brought up with it, and Dad is such a huge fan of them, that I have such a massive, massive soft spot for them. And it upsets me a little bit to see just how the values on these guns have dropped off and just the lack of appreciation for them. You know, that is a semi-hand built gun. You know, the engraving is done by hand, the stocking is done by hand, the finishing is done by hand. And there's just nothing else out there anymore that I don't think can even compete compared to these that, you know, were built in the early 70s, late 80s. The craftsmanship's just not there. Well, pull. 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 To me, I genuinely don't think there is much better than a good old trusty B25 Browning, especially in something like that in a D4G. It is just almost the epitome of what Browning B25s are about. Beautiful engraving, beautiful wood. I mean, I love a gun with a 3-piece forend. It's such a sign of high quality. And again, the 30-inch, that game rib, it just, to me, it doesn't really get much better than that. I know we recently had that Diana 20 bore in, but that as a 12 gauge is just absolutely the best thing I genuinely think you will come across. And the price on them, as I've already said, there is a bargain to be had on these. So one more stand to do. Pull. Okay, let's do the specifications first. 30-inch barrels, 2 3/4-inch chambered, choked, 3/8 and 5/8. Mounted on possibly one of my favourite engraving styles from Browning, the D4G. It is absolutely beautiful. Comes with a 14 7/8 right-handed stock with the semi-pistol grip, and it weighs bang on 8 pounds. So if you want any more information on it, there will be a link in the description below for you guys. Now, I don't really want to go any further without saying something that you all know. I absolutely love B25 Brownings. I was brought up shooting one of these. One of my first ever 12 gauges was a 27.5-inch skeet gun. And then I had a beautiful C-grade 20 bore in 30-inch. So I absolutely love these. And it upsets me a bit that the market has gone the way it has with these. And I don't know if it's down to the fact that people nowadays want a 30 or 32-inch 3-inch chambered steel-proof multi-choke gun, or whether it's because they don't appreciate or understand what these are. I find that a lot of my generation don't actually know what a B25 Browning is because they're just not as popular or as common anymore. And it's one of the reasons that we've done a number of videos over the last sort of 2.5 years is to try and bring that up for people to understand and sort of grow people's knowledge about what they were. I mean, this is a hand engraved, hand finished gun of absolute premium quality. They are, of their time, probably one of the best guns ever produced. At the time, everybody was after one of these. And Dad used to sell a lot of these new. And I mean, he used to sell them by the pallet load because at the time, I would say, you know, in the mid-70s, early 80s, when Browning craftsmanship was at its absolute prime, these were the gun to have. And the thing is, they still work now. You know, this is a mid-70s gun and it is in absolute sublime condition and it works as well as anything off these racks that is brand new. And that is a testament to not just the design of the gun, to the mechanics, but to the craftsmanship that went into these, because there's not many guns nowadays that are made to last like these were. I know that, you know, when you talk about costs and things like that, we're all different, but, you know, a gun of that age that's pushing on 50 years old, that works as well as it did when it was brand new, what more can you ask for, especially when it looks that good? I mean, the market at the moment on these is quite down. And so, I said it earlier in the video, there are some bargains to be had. Now, this is a high-grade gun, okay? You've got your 3-piece forend, your high D-grade engraving, and that incredibly pretty piece of wood on there. And they're just, the values on them have come down by, you know, 30, 40% of what they were. So I do think there are some bargains to be had. So, you know, if you are interested in something like this, keep an eye out, do your research, you know, make sure when you go and look at one, they are a gun of age, check them over correctly, make sure you know what you're buying. But I absolutely love them. And like I say, I'm probably a little bit sentimental about it because, you know, I spent a lot of time shooting B25s. But they're one of those guns that if it's standard stock dimensions, I can pick it up and I can shoot it, especially the lightweight games. I mean, they are my absolute favourite. I mean, it's the epitome of Browning's history. I'd go as far as saying it's got to be one of the top guns that Browning ever produced, is the B25. I mean, they are still in production now. You just don't see many, and the values on the new ones are very high. And that's why I say, you know, you go and order one of these new, you're looking at 3 to 4, probably more times what you will find picking one up in the 70s. And I would have said, without being rude, that the craftsmanship in the mid-70s and early 80s is better than it was now. Well, it is better than it is now. The engraving is just incredible. And it baffles me a bit because you look at that and you would think that that could have been produced 10 or 15 years ago because of the quality of the workmanship, the condition of the gun. No, that was made in the mid-1970s, like 50-something years ago. And it still looks as good as the day it came out of the factory. And I really don't think there is much more to say about it than that. So, like I said, there will be a link in the description below if you would like to find out a little bit more about it. Thank you for watching this week, guys. Be back to you next week with another video.